Bam, what up, Yang Gang? Welcome back to the Trickle Up. It is the 2nd of May. In 2 more days, may the 4th be with you. I can't wait for that. But yeah, what you got on the low for us tonight, Mia?
The White House says Vice President Kamala Harris will chair the Space Council. The National Space Council will continue operations under the Biden administration, and senior administration officials confirmed that on a call with reporters on Saturday, and said the White House process to hire an executive secretary to manage the council is well underway. The National Space Council oversees the 3 main areas of U.S. space activities: national security, civil space, and commercial space. It was dormant from 1993 to 2017, and President Trump revived it to advise the administration on space policy. And it was previously headed by VP Pence, and who chaired the council, and Scott Pace served as executive secretary.
Well, looks like a couple things that she's actually focusing on. Just so you guys know, I don't know much about this. I read this article earlier when she sent it to me to review. There's like 8 main things they kind of highlight here as their main purpose. So they have it listed as sustainable development of commercial space, kind of an oxymoron, advancing peaceful norms and responsible behaviors in space, achieving peaceful exploration objectives with our allies and partners, climate change, STEM education, diversity in the workforce, enhancing cybersecurity and space systems. So that's kind of like, that's their focal point. So we'll kind of see what that comes of it, you know. It's just, you know, Trump made it up, or Trump revitalized, I guess you'd say. And I was mocking him for crying out loud. It sounded silly. Him in space, what the hell does he know? And then, you know, what the hell's Kamala know? I don't know, but she'll be in charge at least. She's not going to be the scientist doing the science experiments. She's just a chair to say, okay, she's really just I guess she's a communication person between the White House and this branch, I guess you'd say, of the military and the Pentagon, you know, when it comes to some security concerns, you know.
Well, most people in management would not be able to build the products that they're managing. So
no.
So we can say that that's not really out of the norm for any American industry. On that note, though, I'm interested in seeing if anything comes from this. He will be keeping the Space Force for national security. And he is going to continue the Artemis program to have humans go on to the moon again. So those are 2 other things from the Trump administration regarding space that are going to continue under the Biden administration. Seems like of all the things that Trump did wrong, I guess the space stuff's going to stick around. Yeah,
and this, you know, again, I mocked him just for a laugh, but when it comes right down to it, it is a national security thing. It is when it comes to like maintaining order, I guess you'd say, as far as like logistics of all these satellites and keeping track where things are at. And I think it's really a national security thing, because then they'll have to have some kind of a detailed map of where their spy satellites are and stuff like that. I'm curious about that, because we got spy satellites, but they like, oh, it's a weather satellite. You know, we know how that's all bullshit. But it'd be interesting to see how that plays out here, where they actually have some rules and regulations and like almost like NATO of space. I'm sure they're going to have something like that eventually, like a NATO board, if you will, to say, okay, these are standardized rules of regulations or something like that for up there, I guess. I don't know.
Right. And the Trump administration did treat it a little bit more like a showcasey. If you read the article, they discuss that Kamala is going to take a more serious approach to it, basically. And less photo ops, more getting problem solved type thing.
Yeah, and it kind of ends the article with this little blip here at the end. It says, no date has yet been set for the first meeting of the National Space Council, but officials said Harris is already receiving frequent briefings on space flight activities and is engaged with key stakeholders. On Monday, for example, she will swear in former Senator Bill Nelson of Florida as NASA's administrator. So they're making some moves in the upper echelons of it. But I'm really interested to see what this is going to be all about, as far as like how they're going to implement it. And this is going to be a slow process. a lot might not get done in 4 years, but it's interesting to see how they might have to incorporate SpaceX too, to be like, hey man, you guys are Elon's trying to have the low orbit satellites to establish like a, what's he calling that? Not Skynet, but oh shoot, Starlink. Yes. So 5G nationwide and even worldwide.
With the goal of it being eventually to provide internet to anybody who wants it for $5 or less.
On planet Earth.
Yes.
So you could be on the top of the highest mountain and at the middle of the Pacific and have 5G access. That's a huge thing for safety for people at sail, divers. Think about people that get lost at sea and get ate up. That'd be so scary. I'd be so scared. But if you had your cell phone, you could actually make a phone. Hey man, I'm gonna send my GPS. I'm gonna drop a pin here in the Pacific. But that we could have connections worldwide. And I think there's a huge opportunity if we can get the Space Force thing, whatever it is, the Space Council, to work with all the governments to pitch in on a nationwide low orbiting 5G stuff, where everyone on planet Earth has access to the internet, which would increase people's access to producing resources. I mean, think about if you had a village in wherever the hell, Central America, Central Africa, Asia, Alabama, where the poorest people are at but and say, hey, we're gonna help these people establish a business online where they don't have to move, they don't have to leave their country to seek success. And I think I wonder, what do you think about this? Could you pitch this as a curbing of immigration? You don't have to immigrate to a different country to seek resources if you can collect resources remotely with 5G and have your online business. Except for the problem is, clean water and education. If that's, like that's a big one, of course. But I think if you have 5G availability, that'll promote more schools online. You can do online schooling. All that kind of stuff would be huge, especially in the Middle East where they don't, a lot of the poorer countries, I won't say Middle East isn't poor because of the oil, but places where they really poo-poo on education.
Well, anytime you have the decentralization of knowledge, you've got opportunity created for people. So I would make that argument regardless. Like, even if it doesn't provide water, you might be able to be a particularly ingenuitive person who can now go on to YouTube and figure out how to build a water collector.
Yes. Well, and there's some good comments here from Solja and Che here. It says indigenous tribes would now have 5G. Because they're out in the middle of BFE and they don't get access to any kind of internet and Wi-Fi. And then Soldier says that could also be in China and Saudi and get uncensored internet from the sky, which I think that's the whole point of a space council, to be like, don't come over our space. We want to control the information. I wonder how that's going to be legally. Can North Korea control the information coming in from space? I don't think so.
I don't think there's going to be, I think it's going to be a lot like the open sea to an extent. Like, how do you police it?
Yeah, you can't police the internet from orbit. They police it as far as they don't allow the coax cable with the Wi-Fi to come through hardlined. But if it's through the satellites, there's not much you can do. All they can control is your access to the phones that access it. In places like North Korea that are totally isolationists. That'd be interesting to see what they would do. How much of a ruckus would it make for other people saying, hey, we want to control the information here? And that could change things on an international scale.
Pretty quickly.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. But yeah, those are great comments, guys. I appreciate that. It's nice. Yeah, the indigenous tribes, man, come on. How the hell do they not have, just 100% internet covered, I don't know. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this thing plays out, man. It's a nice, easy article. It's about Kamala. Where's she been? The border and outer space, apparently. And that's all she's been able to do.
Aliens. That's her job.
Yeah.
All the aliens.
Yeah. And so it'll be interesting. Yeah, aliens and then illegal aliens. Oh, for crying out loud. But yeah, let us know what you guys think about that in the comments section, man. What do you guys think this would do? Would this change? What would this how does this affect the entire nation and the world as far as Space Force and the Space Council and deciding on rules and regulations on information and access. That'd be really interesting to see. But that means everyone could have access. Everyone. And I'm very interested in this. So let us know what you guys think about this in the comment section. While you're here, of course, ring the notification bell, subscribe, like it, and thanks for joining us. We'll see you guys next time. And like always, gang gang.